Moment of 30.92 over Rodney Jane in the Kitten Falcon EB. And row number 2 is the defending champion, Brad Jones in the Commodore, and Terry Wyhoon also in another Commodore. From 5 at 0-2, Marshall Brewer. Out of position number 6. You'll find it's Bruce Williams in the Bendix Commodore. From 7.24, Scotty Wood. From 8.23, Mark Seaton in the Goodyear Falcon. 9 is number 3, Grant Munday in the Bow Repairs Commodore, and rounding out the 10.99, Greg East in another Commodore VP. Commodore certainly dominating here today. Well, I wonder what the ploy is, Bradley.
Get to the front and increase the lead, Michael.
That's it. That sounds like the old racing adage.
Today's going to be a tough day because of the weather, so we're just going to have to try and be at the front when it's raining and lurk around here all day.
How far can you go winning around to the National Championship? And off the line, it looks like John Faulkner down on the inside. They'll get away from young Rodney Jane in the Kitten Products EB Falcon. So the Commodore dives into the turn. Holds Jane here. Brad Jones moves up to 3rd. On the outside is Wyhoon making a big run on the outside of Brad Jones halfway down the back straight.
He's got some snap. That Wyhoon is really moving. He snapped right in there past Brad Jones on the opening lap. Drifting down nicely on the bank here. Is showing plenty of potential, the yellow car.
That thing of Faulkner's, the better Commodore, really sounds superb as he hauls it across the line, dives into the turn. Young Rodney Jane, the son of Bob Jane, the circuit owner, running in 2nd spot in that beautiful black EB Falcon sponsored by Kitten Products. And as Alan alluded to, Terry Wyhoon in the Dayglow yellow and pink car dives up into 3rd, carrying number 25. Brad Jones is back 1 spot in 4th. Marshall J. Brewer is 5th. I think it's Mark Seaton in another Falcon that is up to 6th as we take the DuPont Paints race cam. And here's Bradley out by the wall, trying to take care of business. And in particular, 25, young Terry Wyhoon. Can't do it though. Sits in his draft, the exit to turn 2, and now move along the back straight.
110 laps, got a long way to go, so anybody that gets gay here in the opening laps is just going to throw it away. And I think Brad was just saying, okay, after you, I'll settle down. I'm keeping my eye on Faulkner out there in the lead, and as long as I'm in touch, I'm happy.
One of the quick movers in the early laps is Mark Seaton in car number 23. That's no consolation for car number 6, you can see there.
George Casimir has got it around sideways, and you can see with the amount of rain here on the grass, he can't get the back end of the car lit up enough to take off. Now he's trying to get through the...
He's hit a puddle there of some description.
Well, he's safe, but that's brought the pace car out momentarily. I don't really think Brad Jones can afford Faulkner to get away from this pack.
Not too far, Mike. He won't want to... He'll always want to be able to see him. As long as he can see him, he'll feel comfortable enough. But Faulkner using one of Larry Perkins' engines. And obviously, if it's anything like the engine Larry put together for himself to win the Tooheys 1000, Faulkner, the last thing he's going to be worrying about is whether his engine lasts.
Pace car brings them along the back straight. Should pull off into pit lane, which will enable John Faulkner to get away from Rodney Jane and the Falcon. But keep an eye on Wyhoon. Very, very fast so far today. There goes the pace car to pit lane. They bring the pace on now as Faulkner comes out of the 4th turn. A few of them a little slow to start, and the 2nd lane starts up down the outside. Brad Jones thinks about it, see if he can nobble the Wyhoon before the turn. But he'll leave an opening there that Marshall Brewer will take care of filling before they even reach the 1st corner. Here comes Brewer down on the inside. No, he can't cut it that time.
Nice disciplined restart there, Mike. They really do keep themselves stem astern and try to control that restart. And compliments to the lead cars for that kind of discipline. It's hard to hold back. You saw the boys about 6 back trying a Texas start. Famous A.J. Foyt maneuver, starting somewhere in the middle of the pack and jumping the lead car before they go over the start line.
He actually jumped a couple of pace cars in his time too.
But here we have nice clean restart. Faulkner, Jane, Wyhoon, Jones, Brewer.
Single file racing along the back chute with Faulkner clearly the class machine so far of this field as he hangs to the low side coming off the turn. Jane is under increasing pressure here from Wyhoon in number 25. And Brad Jones probably sits a car length off the pair of them.
I think young Rodley's been doing a lot of practice. I think he's driving better here today than we've seen for a long time, and certainly not to be outdone in second place in the class field.
Here they go, virtually 3 abreast as they go into turn 3 and 4, and Rodney Jane is our new race leader as we look out. The race cam, the DuPont Centauri race cam, coming onto the tri-oval. Jane is the race leader from Terry Waihoon, who's looking for the inside run. John Faulkner seems to have dropped off the pace a little bit, allowing Bradley Jones and Marshall Brewer to skirt on through. And in one lap, Faulkner has gone from 1st to 5th.
Well, I hope he doesn't have serious problems. He might just be weighing up the opposition. We mentioned a long race. And he could be just sizing things up. Doesn't hurt to take a draft. If you've got a good car, you can afford the luxury of slipping behind a little bit and letting the cars in front of you push the wind away. Just a little easier on your engine. But you can't drift off too far in a class field like this.
The exit to the back straight sees Terry Waihoon, car number 25, leading from Rodney Jane. He's under increasing pressure, though, from Brad Jones. Jones ducking here to the inside. And he will use that as the exit to that turn comes up. Marshall Brewer, one back behind them. And John Faulkner, who paced this field for probably about 6 or 8 laps, is back there on the tail of Brewer.
The black flag was just given. I think it could have been to Marshall Brewer. We'll try and check that with officials. The black flag was given to someone in that group of cars ranging from about 4th to 8th place.
Championship wins, but what better tutor to be able to talk tactics over the dinner table?
You don't do it right.
You won't get any more mashed potatoes.
It's getting tight here with Brad Jones.
Just watch Brad here. He watches them, and he's not prepared to lose any ground on the bank, and there he does it. Said, sorry, Rod, follow me.
And here comes Bradley Jones on the inside of Terry Waihoon. Still plenty of time left in this one. Brad's quite prepared to just sit there, see how much Waihoon has to offer, and when the appropriate moment comes, try and find a little inside run to the third turn. And here he goes again. Dives down on the inside of Terry Waihoon. Some great race cam shots. Waihoon caught one up above the white line as they make the exit to that turn, but he still has enough poke to keep life fairly interesting for Brad Jones, and I don't think Brad's going to get away from this field today.
Jones has got a lovely style, the way he floats into the corner. He doesn't bother them on approach. In golfing terms, they say the fellow that can do a nice chip shot onto the green. Well, this reminds me.
Now advances back to third in the better electrical Commodore.
I wouldn't be surprised if Faulkner saw Brad Jones out in front. Obviously, Faulkner has a little in reserve after leading in the early stages. I don't think he'd want Bradley to get too far ahead. As Brad said earlier, he didn't want John to streak away. Terry Waihoon separates.
He's moved back up onto the lead 2 cars. He's sizing something up here, and I would suggest at the moment it's Brad Jones just a little bit further away than he wanted to be. Interesting tactics. I never found myself actually backing off to survey the field. I always like watching it in my rearview mirror, Mike.
You get orchestrated better from there. And in the case of John Faulkner, who dropped back to 4th or 5th, he's back up to 2nd again now, and getting a little bit closer each lap to Bradley Jones, the pace setter in the number 8 Commodore.
It's almost a situation reversal from seasons gone past, where it's been Bradley Jones who's had the horsepower in reserve to sit back and survey the field. This time, and it's still within striking distance. You're having a look now at Faulkner, looking for some racing room on the inside of Jones.
You'll find it here in a second, because he obviously has a little buffer in horsepower. Pretty tough day, actually, to run both classes, Auscar and NASCAR. Tend to think that someone would be suffering from giddiness at the end of the afternoon.
Well, certainly from rain dance, the weather has been very nasty, but he's having a go here at Brad Jones at the moment. Here we go. DuPont race cam picking it up. The better car goes through on the inside.
Oh, what a convenient place for a slower car.
It was George Casamity that we saw in problems earlier. Terry Waihoon, hasn't been Grand Monday. Anthony Leach and Gary Rogers round out the top 10. All on the same lap.
And the positions have all changed yet again. Jones, Waihoon from Faulkner. Down the back straightaway they go. A real cat and mouse game here.
I don't know. John Faulkner's got me...
Bamboozled.
Bamboozled is the word.
He's got me too. He has a little charge up there for the lead and just backs it out. We believe they could, without really feeling using up the tyres, probably get 70 or 75 out of them, but they really, I don't think, could afford to reel off more than 90. I've seen that here in past races. Faulkner coming back behind Jones, now dives under Waihoon.
Yeah, he's just playing around with him, and he's got the snap on the straights, and he's either having a great time. If he is just fooling around and is actually enjoying himself, he couldn't come a cropper here. It's not the kind of tactics that I'd be advocating.
Well, he's doing it so easily. I mean, he can sit back 2 or 3 car lengths and just make a big charge. Well turned out car. John Faulkner running NASCAR and Auscar. So here he comes, working Jones over. In for the completion of the 26th tour around the oval here this afternoon.
He's got his car handling well. He's driving it anywhere he wants. He's placing it precisely where he wants. Here
Who runs back in third? Rodney Jane is fourth. Marshall Brewer is fifth. And there's more action to come. Ahern closes on Jones. It's almost been a seesaw battle. It's been the story of the race so far as they go down the back straight, and it's almost half the length of the straight then to Marshall Brewer. Grant Munday is next. Jane is down, I would suspect, a lap. And Greg East would be the next one, followed by Gary Rogers.
Well, the front trio, the lead trio, they're in a class of their own here today. And certainly driving in a very sporting manner. Nobody's been actually cutting anyone off. Might get a little bit less gentlemanly as the laps unfold. But a lot of horsepower. Every driver able to respond to the other fellow's threat almost at will. But each of the 3 drivers being very calculating, never too far away from that slipstream.
Mark Seaton in the pits in the Falcon EB23. Hasn't had the 88 car. Owen Davies is also in the pits. They've gone in for tyres, churn of fuel.
Yeah.
He snapped one of them. Closes up again behind Faulkner's better electrical car. There's Waihoon.
These cars will actually just seem as if they're walking compared to the lead trio. They'd be right on nerve's edge. They'll be doing everything just right. And to come up on that kind of traffic, Mike, they would almost think they were standing still. And you saw just a little oops there between which way to go for Brad Jones. If that traffic had been any heavier, they may have had a bit more fun getting through, but professionally done and still all intact. The lead trio, John Faulkner, Brad Jones, Terry Waihoon, and Marshall Brewer.
Grant Munday is the next behind. Up the bank! And Greg East, was it? No, 93, I think it was.
No, that's Greg East.
Yeah, that was a nasty one.
Greg went east when he was meant to go west there.
Yeah, that was full force. He couldn't do too much about it, but he really did hit him. He's waving. I hope that means he's okay. Well-constructed cars, they'll take a pounding, but he really did take a whack there, and he's getting out of the car now, wisely so.
I don't know whether Brewer was tapped from behind, but East couldn't do anything about it. He got it around sideways to try and wipe a bit of speed off.
If he'd come around any tighter, like he would have landed up crashing himself into the pit barrier.
Yeah, that looked like...
He had to hit him. He couldn't help that. I know Marshall Brewer won't think much of that, but it was his lose in the first place, so...
The pace car now ready to drop below the yellow line and run into pit lane. Brad Jones. We'll see how much ground Faulkner can make up. There goes the pace car to the pit lane. On the outside, it's Brad Jones getting away smartly from Terry Waihoon, looking for Faulkner to make a run down the outside as well. And it's on for young and old. Waihoon gets up there. Gary Rogers up smartly as well. Bruce Williams, not a bad start. Jones into the first turn. He'll assume the lead as they exit and see whether or not he can get a couple of quickies up, with Waihoon sticking to the wall as they go down the back straight. And Gary Rogers starting to come into contention as well on the inside, the blue, white and red car. He comes up on the inside of Jane. Oh, the little touch there.
Yeah, jockeying for position here. We're not incident-free yet. Got that uncomfortable look at the moment until they settle down in the pack.
There's Rogers on the inside of young Jane. The exit to that turn. He gets away a little bit, and here comes number 2 rampaging up on the inside of them.
That's Nathan Pretty moving up into position number 4 on the track.
That cars look strong as well today, so maybe that pit stop has opened up just a little bit. I heard Rogers making the big moves on the inside. There's Nathan Pretty in the number 2 car. Pretty by name, and the car's about the same.
Looks pretty, yes, it does.
Faulkner has just hit the wall, scraped the wall going down the back straightaway. That is half race distance. So it'll be interesting to watch the progress of John Faulkner over the next few laps to see if any damage was done.
A couple of them actually have kissed that concrete on the exit to the second turn over there.
Well, that's new tires that just haven't quite bedded into his game plan. Car didn't respond the way it had in the previous 50 laps.
So Faulkner comes back up to 5th, and he's charging at them too on the inside.
Off the pace, as you can see, John Faulkner, who's had to come from pretty much rear of field, although he does have the advantage of new rubber on. Faulkner back into position number 4 on the racetrack. We're into the second half of this 110 lap.
Well, lo and behold, he's back up into 3rd spot and working Rogers over unmercifully along the back straight.
Alan, I'll post a question to you. How disheartening for Bradley Jones would it be at this very stage, seeing that yellow number 46 car right in on his bumper?
Absolutely a terrible feeling, because he had that opportunity of darting into the pit lane when the others did. Admittedly, they snuck in behind him. He had to see them go in. He would have had to have done another lap, but even at that, he would have been just mixing company with Faulkner again at the rear of the field. So now Brad's praying for somebody behind him. Look at this. They're not fooling around anymore, sizing each other up. This would be where he would be really demoralized, saying, golly, how much can I get out of these tires now?
And our third place driver, Gary Rogers. Car number 34. I was just about to say that Ford was doing so well, hanging right in behind Jones and Faulkner. Gary Rogers.
Something went flying down the bank there. Looked hot and expensive.
Brad Jones now makes that very, very critical pit stop. The Faulkner car coming up through the pack to probably take over the lead as Jones goes into the pits. The Rogers car still being taken down off the racetrack. Very orderly pit stop. They've got enough time to complete this in.
Yeah, no rush at all, Mike.
Pace smartly. And outdrags Rodney Jane down the inside. They're side by side. Richard Howe making a big run down the inside of the pack. And Jones trying to clear about 3 cars as he comes in here, splits a pair of them through that turn and now onto the back straight.
Bruce Williams also up amongst the leading bunch. Bruce has been quite quiet in the opening stage of this one.
15 laps fresher than Faulkner's. That was part of the Jones strategy. Have nice fresh tires for the last segment of the race, last third.
Well, here's Jones up into 2nd now. He's already passed Nathan Pretty. He's through on the inside. Back goes Williams a spot as they come off the 4th turn now, and Jones is...
Well, how do these fellows actually do this? 1 minute ago he was running last, and now here he is 4 laps later, has taken the lead. He must have a bigger engine, a better engine.
Look at this, here's Jane. He's being punched from behind. He'll go up the racetrack. No, he won't. He'll keep it low. Good driving, excellent driving, in fact.
Held it nicely.
And that is hard to do, and he'll get out in that wet grass, but he'll find his way back onto that little asphalt strip.
He's under control.
Let's have a look at the replay of what happened here. Oh, I think a bit of a gouge there on Rodney Jane. Got a tap. Now, everything is you've got to get the brakes on so tight and try and hold it down, because the car just wants to, through centrifugal force, go straight up the bank.
Yeah, that wall's just waiting for it, right?
So that is quite a recovery. 3 laps to go. It's far from over, though. There's the gap between them as they come along the back straight. And car number 46. There's Faulkner.
He's closer this time.
He sure is. He's made up a lot of ground the last couple of laps as they swing onto the back straight for the final time. Peter Fitzgerald is third, followed by Grant Munday, Scott Wood and Terry Wyhoon. That's the order. Up the back straight now for the final time. There's the gap after 110 laps of competition at Calder Park Thunderdome. Bradley Jones, four-time Auscar champion, will go on and win, and he beats Faulkner by about 3 car lengths across the straight. Peter Fitzgerald is back behind them in third place, followed by Grant Munday and Scotty Wood.